pieces in my life go away with you. Forever in my mind, only you. The pieces in my life run away with you. You're my first love. You're my first love. You're my first love. You're my first love.
Hello and welcome. Live coverage of the FSR Round 3 of the World Trophy Series. We're live from the Shanghai International Circuit. Lewis McGlade is alongside me in the commentary box. I'm James Tucker and looking forward to a very good race today, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 4 weeks since we had a live broadcast of the World Trophy, but we've had Zippoli win twice. But last time, which was only last week, when I don't think the broadcast was actually live for various issues, but he won from 26th place according to GP cost. So that would be an incredible drive.
Yeah, and certainly look out for Zippoli again today.
Yeah, he does look like he is the man on form.
It's such a shame that we couldn't see that for the live broadcast.
That would have been pretty incredible to see someone win from pretty much the back of the grid. I mean, that was the back of the grid. Let's have a look. So we're here now in China, a completely different circuit than Bahrain. It's got a lot more. I think it's a lot more high speed than Bahrain, because you've got a lot of slower sections in Bahrain, whereas here it's more attack all of the corners at as high speed as possible. I mean, that's obviously the case all of the time. But you know, the 16 turns we have here, there's a lot of them are high speed. And it's quite a lot of wear on the front tyres, especially into the braking zones of turn 1 and 2, which, I mean, I sometimes disagree with some of the corners, as we see here, going up through turn 1, which is a long right-hander, and then into turn 2, which is still a right-hander, which I disagree with slightly, that's turn 2, but still. Then you have 3 and 4, back-to-back, just straight here. A double left-hander. They are slightly difficult corners to get the line completely correct. And if you're offline, you know, that can cost you quite a lot of time. But tyre wear is really important here. It's completely crucial, especially for the front tyres. Because there's a lot of brake locking and things like that, especially when you're going down the hill of turn 2 and into 3, which is the left-hander. Then you've got 6, which is a hairpin, a right-hander, and that you can see quite a lot of overtaking. I mean, we saw it into there in Formula 1 in only a few weeks ago, I believe that was. So it's a good opportunity for overtaking. There are a few opportunities for overtaking. It's mainly in the hairpins of 6 and 14, which is the one after the huge straight. One fortunate thing here is that we don't have DRS or KERS, so overtaking has to be done purely on courage and drive off the previous corner.
Yes, it really is a good circuit in some places. In other places, I mean, the drivers hate it. Certainly, I think that 7 and 8, those long sweepers that switch between left and right, I think those corners are really exciting for a driver, and I think making a move down into that hairpin can be a really enthralling, exhilarating even experience. But apart from that, you do get a bit of a stop-start that we saw in Bahrain. You know, you go down to turn 11, and then there's a long straight down to turn 14, there's a long straight down to turn 1. And it's not quite as bad as Bahrain, but certainly drivers in the field, they haven't got away from that Hermann Tilke cookie cutter track type feel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tracks on the circuit are kind of like this now, where it's straight, then a tight corner, so it's slowing you down. You're constantly going really quickly and then slowing down. And as you said about some drivers not really particularly liking this circuit, I can play testament to that. I'm not really a huge fan of this circuit. I get it, and I do sometimes enjoy driving around, you know, on various games. But I mean, I'm sometimes a bit uncomfortable with the track, as you said, because there's some corners which look like you can take a lot faster than they are, especially that last corner. Turn 16 is quite a tricky corner because you don't have much leeway. There is one line through that corner, and that is it. If you are offline at all, you will go off the track, or you'll spin or anything like that. So Franz Schneider, I believe he topped Q1 as we're now into Q2. Going around that turn 2 that I said about earlier, there's turn 3, down the hill into turn 3, then through turn 4, and then you've got like this straight, which has got a little kink in it, which is turn 5. And then it's the heavy braking zone into turn 6. This is where we said the overtaking opportunities could occur, because it's from a fairly high speed into that. And then we've got the high speeds left and right of 7 and 8. You've got to really hold your breath around here and brake around this corner. It's quite a difficult corner, that one, because you have to brake whilst going round it. And your rear brakes may lock up through the double left-hander of 9 and 10, I believe that was. And then this could be an overtaking opportunity into turn 11. Not really too sure about it, but I saw Fernando Alonso taking quite a number of drivers round this corner, which is actually, that's 2 corners apparently. That's 12 and 13. And then you've got this huge straight, where if you've got a good drive off of those 2 corners, you should be able to take someone down this straight and into the braking zone of 14, which we're about to enter now. Pretty clean lap here from Franz Schneider there. So there he goes around the right-hander. This is apparently a corner as well, even though I really don't count it. And now we have 16, which this was the corner. Oh, there's a barrier on the inside as well. That makes it a bit more difficult, because you can clip that barrier really quite easily. And a 1:35.112, that's a pretty good lap there, pretty clean from Franz Schneider.
Yeah, now just looking at Ben testing here, I'm trying to work out who is the highest placed driver who raced in this race last year. I mean, the World Trophy has changed so much over the course of the year that I actually struggling to find anyone that raced last year that is racing again today. Such is the quality of the drivers from last year and this year as well. They move up to the World Series very quickly. Peter Ballet won the race last year, of course, but I'm just looking through the grid and I actually can't find anyone.
Oh, wow! So we've had almost a complete grid change. That's fairly impressive there. I think, you know, to have a grid as big as we have, to have pretty much, albeit, you know, completely changed. You know, we've got a lot of different teams this year, and it does seem like Zippoli is the one, as we see him right now. Zippoli's the one that's really taken control of this season. I mean, I think throughout the World Trophy, the World Series, and the World Championship, we haven't seen a championship lead change yet. You know, it's been Bono Huis in the World Championship, it's been Martin Gosby in the World Series, and it's been this man Zippoli in the World Trophy. We haven't seen a World championship change. You know, it's I think World Series is the only race where we've had two different winners, which was both from Precision. So
Zippily then is really challenging right now. He's had a purple second sector. This is for the pole. So Zippily can get yet another pole position. That'll certainly
he made a mistake through 16, I think.
Yeah,
he made a mistake
Fran
through 16.
Schneider, interestingly, did race last year, and he retired after 4 laps with a suspension failure. So that's not a good sign for Schneider. And Zippily, it looks like he's gone second.
Yeah, he did indeed.
Probably cost him there in sector 3, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had a huge mistake through 16.
He was up by a tenth on Fran Schneider, and he lost 4 tenths in sector 3, which I have to believe was that wiggle in the final corner. So all going wrong just at the last moment for Zippoli.
Yeah, it looked like he took it a bit too much on the inside. It's a fairly good lap here from Carlos Martin. You know, he's only 2 tenths off the pace, and so if he gets a perfect, third sector, its setup is quite key here because there's 3 very different sectors. I mean, you've got this sector 3, which is a very high speed sector, so you maybe want to run like lower downforce and things like that. Whereas there's the high downforce. I think sector 1's more of a high downforce, especially in comparison to that. Which is why on various games that I can be really quick in the first sector, but when it comes to the third sector, I'm pretty slow. So let's have a look as Carlos Martin runs over the line. He goes 6th. I believe that's I can't really see. Is that 5 tenths off the pace or 8 tenths or 6?
It's about 8 tenths.
8 tenths.
Fran Schneider then taking quite a surprising pole, you'd have to say. Last year he qualified in I think 20th, so a move up of 20 places up the grid, and that shows how these drivers develop over time. And Fran Schneider has certainly been more to develop, because that is a brilliant result if it stands for him. We've still got Debacqua,
I think it is.
Okay, we've still got him to go, and looks like Puotti and Campos both have mistakes on their laps. But at the moment, the top 9 after Q2 is looking like Fran Schneider, Marcus Cipollini, Juhani Alman, Ben Tusting, Renz Klopp, Carlos Martin, Jonathan Holmesdale in 7th, Campos in 8th, Puotti in 9th, and Debacqua won't set a time. He's in 10th place.
Yeah, he aborted his lap. But yeah, I saw Debacqua in the in the Winter Series. I think it was round 4 was Long Beach, and at that point, I believe Scott brought up that he was 12 years old at that point, and that was only a few months ago. So I'm interested to see how well he'll do.
12 years old.
Yeah, that's what we. I think that's what he said when we were racing back then. So, this could be pretty impressive. I mean, he did drive pretty well. I think he did DNF in that. But in the Winter Series, I will state that the attrition rate was extremely high. I think we didn't have a race where more than about 6 or 7 cars actually finished, because the attrition rate was so high. So I think this could be quite interesting. He didn't race in round 1 or round 2, so it could be a good drive. We don't know yet.
Well, I'll be interested to see how much maturity there is in his drive, considering his age. That is, I'm a bit gobsmacked actually. I didn't even know if there were rules against allowing people under a certain age to race, but obviously not. So that'll be exciting to see how he does. Imagine if he could stick it to some of the big boys.
Quite possibly. Well, we'll have to wait and see as they're all on their warm-up lap. The race is not too far away, and it'll be really quite interesting to see how round 3 actually goes.
Yeah, so warm up now for 10 minutes, I believe. And Fran Schneider, how's he going to be feeling now? He's just got the pole. I'm sure how many poles he's had before. I'm not very good on my the database or something. It could well. I don't remember seeing Fran Schneider on the pole. Before it could well be his first pole position. Never knows. Welcome back to coverage of FSR's Round 3, the World Trophy Series right now, Championship later, and for now we're in warm-up. We've got 5 minutes left, and Franz Schneider has taken the pole at the Shanghai International Circuit. A shock result, I would say. Zapoli, who's won the first 2 races of the year, starts in 2nd place, and he'll certainly be looking to get a good start off the line.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, I think the second place on the grid is oh, there's a bit of a crash there. Is on the right-hand side as the racing line. To be honest, at that point is on the left. So if he's on the inside into turn 1, that's actually a really, really good place to be. I mean, to be honest, on either side, it's actually a really good place to be as long as you get a really good start because of the way the first few corners work. But I mean, qualifying position is less important here. I mean, it's still very important. You know, you can't. Yeah, someone on pole has a lot better chance of winning than someone from the back. Although you can tell that to Zippoli, and I don't think he'll care that much really. But I'd say as long as he gets a good start, he should be in a really good place to take the lead off the line.
Of course, Zippoli hasn't actually had a pole yet since his return to FSR. The first race I mistakenly thought he was a rookie. He's not. He's a returning FSR driver from a few years ago. And he hasn't actually had a pole yet. He started 3rd in Australia, but from the back in Bahrain. But he actually won both races. So certainly starting 2nd to the podium would be nothing too intimidating to him. Maybe it's that pace, not over 1 lap, that really sets him apart from other drivers. His consistency in the race that we've seen.
Well, it's all about strategy. I mean, we saw that a lot in Australia, where strategy was pretty much everything, and the rule where you have to use both sets of tyres I don't think it applies in the World Trophy or the World Series. It's only the World Championship at the moment due to various problems with R-Factor. So, you know, with that in mind, I think he's got like a really perfect idealism with the strategy, you know, to have like, you know, the knowledge to use which tyre when. You know, if he wins from 26th place in Bahrain, he's got that, you know, really quite right. And here, you know, from 2nd place, I don't think he'll be quite as intimidated.
There's a top 8 on your screen right now. Ben Tusting finished on the podium in that race, which we unfortunately weren't able to broadcast last week from Bahrain. And Jonathan Holmes finished 4th. So a few surprises there. We could see some guys spring a surprise again today. We'll run down the grid now as they complete now their warm-up lap. Franz Schneider taking the pole from Marcos Zapoli. Juhani Alman is in 3rd place with Ben Tusting, an excellent 4th. Renz Klopp will start 5th, which is where he finished last week after starting from the pole. Jonathan Holmes, Carlos Martin is in 6th place, and Jonathan Holmes, my good friend, they're in 7th place. Campus will start in 8th place, and Puotti in 9th. Depake in 10th place, and if you'd like to run down the rest of the grid,
Okie dokie. Well, I've not got the numbers, so let me just actually open up that just a second. We've got up to Dubako. So it's Boshov and Valeriano on the 6th row of the grid. Then it's Bodnar and Lubacek in 13th and 14th. Okay, this one's quite a difficult name to pronounce. I will apologise. Vincent Tishevich.
We do have fun, don't we? I think it's
we do. It's all about the name pronunciation, which I'm pretty bad at. There, he's alongside Core in 15th and 16th, and you've got Rueda and Wendt, Johnson, and this was a difficult one from Australia, I do believe. Aslam Mazian. Then that's in 19th and 20th. Siggy and Haag. Then you've got Fisher and Fantinati. A lot of these drivers I don't recognise the name from Australia, so that's quite interesting. So we've had a lot of driver changes since then. Then it's Keeney and Valiente in 25th and 26th.
Certainly Valiente, although perhaps not the best place to start, obviously not the best place to start, in fact the worst place to start. I will take a little bit of comfort from what happened to Marco Zapoli in the last race in Bahrain. And what a catch for Pescara, actually. It seemed to come out of nowhere, tying up Marco Zapoli, who apparently he's tested Formula 3 in real life, and he's even tested the Ferrari F60. So he's clearly a driver of some talent. both on the sim racing circuit and in the real world. So really, really good for Pescara to sign up such a driver. Now the car's just getting settled on the grid. Of course, Fran Schneider will be the one starting on pole. On your left there, Marco Zappoli on the right as the back markers just come in and take up their positions. This all takes quite a while, and it really plays on the mind of Fran Schneider. And what's that in the background there? That's a car that's gone off. I can't make out quite who it is, but I don't know what the procedure is here. We need to abort the start, or can he get back into his grid position?
I wouldn't know. That's a very odd thing to do. I think he can get back into his grid position, but wow.
That's not good for his tyres either, is it? So now the lights are on. We've got 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5, and we are away in China. Fran Schneider looks like he's got a reasonable start, but look for Marco Zappoli to come up the inside into turn number 1. That's Ronnie Almond down on the outside of Marco Zappoli, but he can't do anything actually with grid order. It looks like into turn 1, Fran Schneider gets away pretty well. That's exactly what Fielder wanted. Looks like that's Red Klopp or Ben Justin, in fact, making a move there at the moment, up until the 3rd place with Red Klopp and 4th place with Ben Justin now. He's battling side by side with Almond, and meanwhile Zappoli already attacking Fran Schneider. Round the outside in the hairpin, they touch wheels there, and looks like Zappoli has the lead already. Fantastic move.
Wow. that was a good move. That was a really good move. I mean, we said we'd see some overtaking there, but that was a really classy move around the outside.
That sets a real marker down to his opponents. If they want to beat Marco Zappoli today, they're going to have to work really hard, because he just went past the pulse of Fran Schneider like he was standing still in the hairpin there. The first real overtaking opportunity they have apart from the first corner. In fact, there's a lot of cars wide there, out of, I believe that's 14, is it, in the background. But Zappoli takes the lead and immediately sets the purple sector in sector 2. 5 tenths faster than Fran Schneider in second. And they've got to be careful he doesn't run away with it. Really focusing on here, because he just had a real moment.
Almond, yeah, he had a real moment coming out of... Oh, there's some cars going really wide at the
13.
end there.
Look at this, we've got 3 wide down the straight into turn 14. In fact, we might even go 4 wide or 5 wide. Can this end well? Just about going to make it through, I think, without any contact. But that looked very dangerous for a second there.
Yeah, it's all about spotting your braking zones down there. You miss it, and then you'll turn to Esteban Gutierrez from Formula 1 in China only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, this is some brilliant racing in the middle of the grid, and Fran Schneider is now under attack from Renz Klopp for 2nd position. Klopp has made a good start from, I believe he started 4th. Yeah, no, Renz Klopp actually started 5th, and now he's up to 3rd, so a good start for Renz Klopp. The biggest fall you'd have to say is, I'm just looking down the grid, nobody's really lost that many positions or gained that many. It's been quite China standards. You often see some crazy starts here. It's been quite a calm, sensible start so far. We've got no DNF either, which is always excellent. But just as I say that, look at these guys again, going 3 wide now into turn number 7, and Carlos Martin comes out the best of that. And he's now up to, I believe, he's up to the 7th position. So Carlos Martin making some gains after losing a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen 2 cars going side by side, with 2 cars side by side right behind them going around turn 7. That's a really brave move to do, because it is one of these turns where you just have one line, you have to take it that way. And you know, it does get a bit more difficult throughout the race when you've got less tyre wear and things. You know, when the tyres are completely worn and you need to throw them away and never look at them again. But you know, you've got to deal with it. But you know, we've seen some pretty impressive. Oh, who's that?
Oh, big crash! And who was that? Must have wheeled down the straight, and that is a big crash. Looks like he surely won't be able to continue. Just trying to find out who that is for you. And well. Sorry, just was a pony getting. Oh, there's another crash in turn 14. Is that the same guy actually?
Yeah, well, I believe it's the same.
And Netrex driver. I don't recognise the helmet, I'm afraid.
Wow, that's completely unfortunate there.
Campus.
I'm not sure. Let's have a look. It could have been Keeney, because he's got a red light by his name on the live timing, so I'd assume he's out. How very unfortunate.
Yeah. Could well be Keeney, and after crashing there down the straight, he then crashed again at the hairpin, and I don't see who that crash was with actually. Meanwhile, Zappoli opening the gap at the front. It's already 1.5 seconds after just 2 laps, or 2.5 now. And Frank Schneider needs to really work on keeping Zapoli within his grasp if he wants a chance of winning this race. Of course, there's still strategy to play out. We could see Schneider perhaps trying to stretch tyres or do one less pit stop than Zapoli in order to find a way back into this race. But at the moment, nobody has an answer for the pace of this opponent.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty much as it was in Bahrain. Oh, who's this? Oh, that's getting a bit close there.
This is the 12-year-old here.
Wow, yeah. Positive
12 or 13, that is.
Yeah, I believe that's a Positive Sim racing car. I believe to be correct.
I'm still not good with the jobs.
Yeah, I know. There's so many different colour schemes, so many different teams, but you know, wow. There's quite a lot of overtaking, aggressive or not. Some interesting moves so far. But as you were saying about Zapoli, is that he can't run away with this. You know, Frank Schneider has to stay close. Yeah, that is completely correct. This happened in the World Series in Bahrain 2 weeks ago, where Van Starkenberg had to stay close to Gosby, and he couldn't. He just really couldn't. I mean, he got there in the end, where he was balancing out, you know, pretty much matching sector time, and he did eventually take the lead of that Grand Prix due to a problem with the pit stops. But you know, he's got to just keep. Frank Schneider has to keep as close as possible as he can to Zapoli, but I don't know if he can.
We had to stem the time a little bit. He lost 3 tenths on that last lap. And did you just see that move from Lebruschek on Jonathan Holmes right around the outside of turn 1 and 2? He just stuck it on the outside there. And now Jonathan Holmes is under attack from the 12-year-old in indeed the Positive Sim Racing orange team. And then we got Siggy, who's in the Positive Sim Racing green team.
Yeah.
They're both Positive Sim Racing cars, but they're orange and green.
Well, sorry, there's another one, which is the white, blue and green one. That's another Positive Sim Racing. That's the Biocross Positive Sim Racing. But yeah, I did see someone going a bit smoky in the background. I believe that could have been Ken Siggy there, but that was coming out of turn 6, maybe a bit of a power slide. There's quite a lot of high traction zones, and by quite a lot I mean 2. But you know,
and let's watch on board now with Debacke. I'm going to mention his age again. He's 12 years old, and he's going to pass Jonathan Holmes easily down the straight into turn 14. So far, he's impressed. He's up to 8th position now, as we can see on board, actually, from the class in 92, we can see up ahead Carlos Martin and Lebruschek battle. And Lebruschek's coming up through the field, actually, isn't he? He's advanced a few positions. In fact, oh my god, that is what it looks like to impact into a car sideways on in turn 16. That gave me a shock. And who was that he crashed into? It looks like it must have been either Lebruschek and Carlos Martin who were battling up front, and he had no way to react. That was an incredible view. He's lost his front wing at the back end. All his hard work is all gone down the drain, and something completely not his doing. That is a real shame for the back end.
That is completely the worst place where you want to lose your front wing. It is the unbelievably bad place to lose your front wing. It's worse than losing it on the front corner, on the first corner, because it's just you can see the pits. They're right there, but you just can't go. Oh, that is such a shame there for Bakua. Is he actually? Yeah, he is missing his entire front wing. That is going to feel horrible around pretty much everywhere on the circuit, other than the straight. That is such a shame.
Just trying to work out who he crashed into. Probably Lebruschek, because Lebruschek got position. It was Lebruschek. I recognise the paint job now, and that is a real shame. Lebruschek must have just been battling hard with Carlos Martin. I was just remarking about how you could see a nice view of the battling up ahead, and then we saw a very nice view of what it looks like it's an impact into a car at over 100 miles per hour. That was quite a shock, I must say. And poor Debacke now is going to lose all those positions, and that is such a real shame. He's now watching his teammate in the orange Positive Sim Racing, that'd be Valiente. Valiente start from the back of the grid, right?
I believe he did.
He started from 19th position, and Valiente already up to 9th, so an excellent start for him. The other car, the Positive Sim Racing orange team.
Yeah, see, this 3-team stuff, where there's like one team with 3 other teams, such as Krasov Netrex. I believe Twist has done it as well in the World Series. I'm not sure about here, but there are the 2 Abrosco GP cars. It's a bit ridiculous sometimes to have 3 teams that's the same team essentially. They're just sister teams, I know, but you know what I mean. It's a bit hard to follow. Like, you know, you've got your Positive Sim racing car and you've got your Positive Sim racing car, but that's a different Positive Sim racing car, so you can't mistake them.
Yeah, it can be hard. I mean, we always think Red Bull pushed them into a bit in F1 with their Toro Rosso team, which for a while did actually use the same car as Red Bull. Before Red Bull were a really good team, Toro Rosso actually used to use essentially the whole same designs before F1 actually stepped in and said, no, you can't do this.
Yeah.
I wonder about how far these teams all collaborate. I imagine they all have really similar setups. You'd think, wouldn't you? They all work together. So it probably does give them an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it probably does give them an advantage. I don't think that there's team orders like Multi-21 and all that. I don't think we go that far. But, you know, Toro Rosso just translates into Red Bull from Italian to English, I believe.
Right, yeah.
You know, but I don't think we have team orders such as like Red Bull would ask a Toro Rosso driver to kindly get out of the way in Brazil. I'm fairly sure they did. I don't think we'll have that in here. You know, they're sister teams, but you know, I think I'd like to see it where it goes a little bit wide there into 1016. Very easy thing to do, but I don't think that do we actually have team orders at all in
I'm not really sure. You'd have to ask a driver, because I think in a championship situation, in the final races of the season, yeah, we'd have team orders, I believe, or at least a driver would know. I mean, I certainly would let him have the teammate if it was to win the championship.
Yeah, I would as well, unless I was spiteful for whatever reason. Not that I really would be. You know, you've got to respect your teammate, especially that if they're in a world championship position. You know, to someone that you've raced alongside with for such a long time, you know, you've got to respect that. But to say about title deciders, you know, especially in the World Championship, we haven't really had an actual title decider. You know, like on the last race, like we saw in Brazil in Formula 1, where, you know, you have one race and that's what matters. You know, you have to score points. I mean, we saw that in the Winter Series, where there was 4 drivers all going for the championship, which I believe Lapala pulled out prior to the race. But there was 3 drivers on the grid that were able to take the championship. It was quite interesting for the first, you know, 5 or 10 laps, and then we saw some DNFs. But you know, I would really like to see
try and make a move on for show. We'll go back to that in a second, what you were just saying, but it looks like he has the pace now. And in fact, Carlos Martin, is that a lapped car? That can't be Carlos Martin there up ahead, because I believe, yeah, it's not pissed off, because he's way ahead. So that's actually a lapped car there in front of them, getting in the way of Valiente, but Valiente still manages to make the move. Now he's got to get past this car. Anyway, carry on with what you were saying if you remember.
No, I was just thinking that I think we need a title decider really, but this is quite an interesting duel. 2 Positive Sim racing cars on each other.
Oh, this is Carlos Martin.
I believe so.
Green. Ah, right. Sorry. Yes, it is. I thought he was further up the road than that, but clearly there must have been some mistake or something, because it suddenly went from 2 seconds on the live timing to 0.2 seconds, and Valiente from 19th on the grid, remember, is up to 6th place. Fantastic drive, Valiente so far. And Brad Schneider has cut the gap in the front. He's cut it by a second on that lap.
Yeah, Zipoli must have made a mistake. But as you were saying about the drive from Zipoli last time out, maybe giving Valiente some confidence. I really think it has. To say that he's come from 9 on the back of the grid up until 6th place where he currently is. Is that Zipoli right in front there?
That is Zipoli right in front. Maybe his tyres have gone off or something.
Wow.
After 7 laps, because he's lost 2 seconds in 2 laps. And Franz Schneider is going to smell the race lead here. He's got the slipstream going down into turn 14. He's going to pull to the inside. Can he outbrake him? On the inside, this should be an easy move for him. He leaves a lot of space, you have to say. And Zipoli will try and squeeze him. In fact, Zipoli will now have the inside for turn 16, and Zipoli can perhaps get this one back, but no, the camera falls short of it. Franz Schneider takes the lead
Zipoli
of
pits.
the FSR World Trophy Chinese Grand Prix. Zipoli pits. Really, must have been Irish or
yeah, I believe he
like
was
that.
On the. We've just been told that he could have been on these soft tyres, and it could have been those going off. They've gone off incredibly quickly. It's only been 8 laps. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anybody else on these tyres that will have to watch out and react to this now, because this is a development.
Very, very interesting. They go down 10% a lap. Oh, wow. That's...
I mean, that's they've
wow.
been at 0% after 10 laps, and we're on the 8th lap now. So has Zipoli shot himself in the foot here? with a tactical decision. He's come out right next, I believe this is Jonathan Holmes, is it? And he's on the outside now in turn number 3, now turn number 4, and he gets it done. You have to think he'd have put on the hard tyres because it was suicidal to put on the softs again.
Most certainly.
Now he's going past Campers. He's got to deal with this lap traffic fast because Franz Schneider now, he can push on the hard tyres, and Franz Schneider can try and leapfrog. Well, he doesn't need to leapfrog him because he's nearly got past. Well, he did get past him, didn't he? Franz Schneider now can consolidate his position if Zippoli gets caught up in lap traffic. So, after thinking Zippoli would run away with it in the first 2 laps when he opened up that 2-second advantage, now the race is being thrown wide open again.
Okay, here's a question though. What tyres is Franz Schneider on? Because I'm wondering, do they have to keep the tyres that they did in qualifying Q2? You know, is it like in Formula 1 where they have to keep those tyres if they've gotten into the top 10? Because if that's the case, then Franz Schneider would pretty much have to have been on the soft tyres in Q2.
So it was a really, really amazing lap. Jonathan Holmes here just about to go down the outside of Campus. It brakes very, very late, and in fact, he's going to undercut Campus here. No, it doesn't work that time, but carry on.
You know, it's tyre strategy is everything, but I'm wondering what tyres is Franz Schneider on. Considering his lap times, I'd state that he still hasn't pitted yet. He's probably on the harder tyre, so you don't have to use the same compound tyre in Q2. Well, the same tyre actually. So, Franz Schneider has an amazing setup. But as you were saying about Zippoli having to get through the traffic really quickly, we saw this in World Series a couple of weeks ago, where Gosby came out of the pits, but he was held up in traffic. So Van Starkenburg closed down. And I mean, it's a bit different here because Schneider took the lead prior to Zippoli pitting. So, you know, this could actually be a very interesting fight for the lead here.
Yeah, you'd have to feel that Zippoli could be faster, just based on his early season form from the first 2 races, but certainly Brad Schneider has really risen to the challenge now, and he's got a 10-second gap over Johanny Alman in second place. That's a good stride from him actually so far, just consolidating on that podium where he qualified in first. And you have to feel that Schneider right now is in the best position of anyone because he can choose when to pit. When he does, he'll have much newer tyres than Zippoli, and he can choose whether to come out in traffic or not if he can just find a gap. Meanwhile, here's Bashov then. He's defending, I believe, against Zippoli, and Zippoli just taking a little look to the inside, but he's got to get past Bashov. This is exactly what we were talking about. If he doesn't get past Bashov quickly, he'll be losing so much time to the leaders. Franz Schneider, Johanny Alman, Ben Punty. He will lose position, so he's got to really work hard at getting past Bashov here.
Yeah, I mean, he really has to get past him quickly, especially considering Schneider just actually set the fastest lap of the race on his last lap. So he's still going really, really strong. And to state
side-by-side racing everywhere, isn't there?
There's so many different little duels going on, and I wonder if we'll see one between Schneider and Zippoli later on.
I hope we will, because I think we're due a nice battle for the lead. We did see a fantastic race in Australia, didn't we? That was a really, really good race. But,
yeah, it came down pretty close, especially in the early sections of the race. You know, there was a pretty good duel going on. So this could turn out to be quite interesting.
Yeah, let's hope, certainly.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing you can do is just hope and see what happens. But we've got so many drivers running close to each other. I mean, if you look on the timing screen, you know the top 10 of the grid is running in 25.2 seconds. Considering that the gap between Schneider and Alman is 11.1 seconds, a lot of the drivers in that club are actually remarkably close together.
Yeah, we've seen great battle on the track and a great race so far. Really promises for the rest of the race. This is Campus and Holmes who are still battling, and after Campus got past Holmes, well, against Holmes,
here we go.
Outside there,
Zippoli
yeah, he's got past Bashov now, but Bashov is fighting back. Bashov is not intimidated by the championship leader. He's fighting back. He's got it.
Bit of contact there.
Bashov got past in turn 12 and 13, and now there's still more contact. Zippoli will be furious because he managed to get past him, but he gave it up again, and now he's got past him on the outside of turn 14. A real fighting spirit for Bashov, who gives up the position to the championship leader, and so he will not concede that easily. In fact, tries to get it back. Really impressed with Bashov there.
Really, really impressed. That was a pretty decent drive there from Bischoff. You know, considering his tyres are older than Schneider's, than Zipperli's. So you know that was an interesting drive. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Who was that?
That was Jonathan Holmes and Campos, who have been battling non-stop for the last few laps, and perhaps Campos just wanted to get rid of him. It looked like he slowed up a little bit there on the corner apex just to catch out Jonathan Holmes. It certainly worked. So a cheeky little move there from Campos, but it looks like it might have worked out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those kind of moves are a little bit dodgy, but you know they can work, provided that you know that the car behind is aware, the driver behind is aware. Lubitsch though, so at the fastest lap of the race, he's down in P19, so I'm going to assume he's pitted. Whereabouts is Debacqua? Debacqua is in 20 seconds, so he's not in last place, he's in front of Johnston, and is 7.7 behind Wentz. So after a pretty poor start there from Debacqua, it's quite a shame to see him all the way down in 22nd. Schneider's looking pretty good at the top though, you know, leading pretty much away, looking fairly comfortable if I'm honest, 12.1 seconds to Alman and, you know, 22.8 seconds all the way back to Zipperli in 6th place.
Yeah, certainly a real shame for Debacqua because he made an incredible start, and then was it Labruche that he crashed into? I believe
So,
we saw
yeah.
it head on. We saw it.
Many people pitting.
From the driver view, and now it is a positive sim race in orange. It's Valiente, so Valiente, after making a superb start, you'd have to think he's on the soft tyres. Making that faster start, you'd have to think. But if he is, and he's made the last 12 laps, which is much better than Zipperli did, perhaps we're starting to see a chink in the so far impenetrable armour of Zipperli, in that he wears out his tyres fast.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one way to find out, and that's to watch, you know, and pay attention to the race. But if Valiente is on the softer tyre, then you do have to wonder what's really happening to Zipperli. I mean, what's going wrong? You know, has he got problems with the car setup? Has he got problems, you know, just with this circuit? Is this circuit, you know, this is the thing, is that the first 3 rounds we've done is Australia, Bahrain and China. 3 very different circuits. You know, they're totally different to each other. You can't really compare them in too many ways. I mean, Bahrain and China are fairly close, like in some sectors, but you know that China has a lot bigger straights. I mean, it's got the biggest straight in FSR. So is Zipperli starting to struggle now at this point in the season? I mean, it's only been 3 rounds, but could we be seeing Schneider actually challenging? I don't think Schneider's actually scored any points this season yet, or even take part in a race. I mean, I'll have to look at that, but I didn't see him on GP costs.
It's just been pointed out to us actually, but perhaps the reason, not entire reason surely, Zipperli must still have been wearing his tyres a little bit more than Valiente, because Valiente managed to keep up the pace. But Zipperli did run Q2, whereas Valiente did not. So that means Valiente would have about 2 or 2.5 less laps on those soft tyres than Zipperli did. But to be fair to Valiente, Valiente kept up the pace throughout the stint, and he did essentially 9 laps on the tyres. It was 12 laps, but Zipperli did 9 plus 2. So he did do 1 more lap, and he kept up that pace, whereas
Zipperli up the inside of Martin.
Yeah, Zipperli there, dispatching Martin easily. He's not having too much trouble with the lap cars, is he? He's managing to get past them pretty easily.
Yeah, he's getting past them. He's trying to. He's just trying to get through the field. You know, that's what he's got to focus on. Is just getting past all the drivers and getting into clean air, which, you know, is pretty difficult. As Alman here with who's that behind? I don't have live timing open just yet. That's Tusting. So Ben Tusting, who has finished on the podium this season yet, or has he not?
Yeah, finished on the podium last week actually in Bahrain. So Ben Tusting has really improved himself, you'd have to feel, this season. He's starting to become a really consistent podium challenger.
Well, he's in 4th place in the championship, so that's always a pretty good sign. Yeah,
indeed. So certainly good signs for Ben Tusting so far in this season. Zipperli now is 8.1 seconds behind Ben Tusting, who is 2.3 seconds behind Alman, who is 13 seconds behind Franz Schneider at the front. So Schneider, in fact, he's 14 seconds now. Schneider stretching that gap. He's not going to stop yet. There's such a difference in wear from the hard tyre to the soft tyre. And Valiente perhaps has done it right, soft tyre, by not going into Q2. You know, I think the best position to start here today would be 11th on the soft tyre.
Yeah, I mean, this was what we saw in Formula One a lot, where I think we could, if the tyre wear stays same as Valiente, then sets the fastest lap of the race by quite a margin as well. I mean, he's the only one to break into the 39s from what I can see. So that was a very impressive lap. A fairly impressive lap. It's a 1:39.4. That's a very impressive lap. But yeah, we saw this in Formula One where some drivers just aren't going. Who's that skipping the corner?
Looks like it's Otti.
Asamazian has skipped turn 2. That's. I mean, it was obviously a mistake through turn 1, but it's a bit unfortunate.
Looks like he was trying to. It was something to do with cross. It looks like he was trying to avoid a collision or something.
Yeah.
So that's one way to avoid a collision, I guess. Don't go on the track. But that's sorted out. Valiente still setting purple sectors, a purple sector 1 now, and if he can get, he's probably on hard tyres now. You'd have to think that everybody after starting on soft tyres and realising how absolute rubbish they are, will now be on the hard tyres. But still, Valiente setting some incredible pace, and in fact, this is looking like it'll be another lap.
Yeah, Holmes went off on the final corner, I believe. Oh, not final corner. That was turn 12. So he must have not got as good traction out of that corner and just spun coming out of turn 12. There you go. Yeah, see, pretty much. Oh, was it contact?
No, it just looks like. Oh, well, I don't know. Just looks like he got the car oversteering a lot and tried to correct it, but it kind of snapped on him.
Possibly a bit of lag.
Quite a bit of lag. Stream, I believe. But yeah, it looks like he tried to correct it and it snapped on him. Oh,
yeah.
This is Zapoli we're watching now, actually.
Is it?
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's Zapoli, not Jonathan. Jonathan Holmes is a completely different car.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was looking at that going, that's not Holmes' car, surely.
We both completely didn't register that. That was a commentator's collective. I don't know, collective stupidity, I guess. But,
maybe we shouldn't trust the software so much sometimes.
Yeah, we just don't question it. It's said Jonathan Holmes, so we thought it was no. It's Zapoli. So Zapoli's race going from bad to worse. He's down to 8th position now.
That is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. I mean, we saw this actually in both the races that we commentated on, the World Series and the World Trophy. We saw that the lead, or one of the cars that was challenging for the lead in both the World Trophy and the World Series in Australia, had mistakes in the race, and that cost them the win. So could that have cost Zapoli the win? Could that have given the win to Franz Schneider, I wonder?
Well, I hope it hasn't robbed us of an excellent battle this afternoon, because it was shaping up to be nice, and now Zapoli, with that mistake, has given himself a mountain to climb, certainly. I mean, he did it last week. He certainly climbed a mountain last week from the back of the grid. So don't count him out yet, but with the pace of Franz Schneider right now, Zapoli is now 30 seconds behind the leader, and that is a lot of time to make up.
A lot of time to make up. Yeah, I mean, he was 23 seconds behind, I think, before that mistake, and that's a huge margin to make up in itself. So now that he's got an extra 7 seconds added onto that, you've got to wonder, can he come back from this? I mean, if you look in real Formula One, you've had races where Mark Webber in 2009 in Germany, he had so many mistakes. It was a completely dry race. He had mistakes throughout the race, and he had a penalty, but he still came back and he still won the race. He simply has to make perfect laps. Did he just make a mistake there coming out of turn 3?
Yeah,
no, he's still
back to Zapoli. No, it looks like it's just a bit
still going well.
Lag with that.
Yeah, but if he can string together the perfect, it does look like he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, he's wobbling, isn't he? Did he put the soft tyres on again? Is he struggling with his tyres today? Perhaps we have indeed found the chink in the armour of Marco Zapoli. He needs to look after his tyres more. He'd have to feel. Looks like they could have worn off again. Here's a battle then. Yanni Albon is right on Franz Schneider. You have to feel Franz Schneider must have made a pit stop. And now, oh yeah, this used to be Schneider going past Albon, is it? I can't tell really.
Schneider on our live time.
No, Albon's the Abuto car, and Schneider is
yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was. We are having some slight problems there with the on-screen. Yeah, the graphics.
We're not clever enough to work out who they are.
I did assume it was, but I just don't like questioning technology because it makes me feel stupid sometimes.
If it said it was Sebastian Vettel, we'd probably believe that Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, I would.
FSR cars and commentate on it. I can't believe what we both did there with Zipperly thinking it was Jonathan Holmes just because the software told us so. Anyway, let's try and move on to that, but I guess the franchise must have made a pit stop or something like that. I think it's got to be technology problems again. It's got to be. This is. Who is this? It's Tusting and Alman, is it?
I believe was the
Tusting and Alman. It's Tusting.
Yeah.
Tusting there in the black car and Alman in the red car.
We get confused so easily. But you know,
Alman is a Ghost Speed. He's a Ghost. Oh, is it GS Racing? I get confused between those two. Is there any difference between Ghost Speed and GS Racing, or is that just the second team?
Sister teams?
I think so. I mean, GS has to stand for Ghost Speed, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to assume that. Yeah, they are sister teams. The sister teams in FSR, completely confusing all of the commentators. Beautiful.
And Tusting actually races for Hacksaw Racing. That's actually a good game. I must say, I do enjoy a bit of Hacksaw, so Ben Tusting would want you to check that out. But he's been racing well, and it looks like we still will have a battle for the podium positions. Now, this is an Abutto car and it's a Positive Sim Racing orange car. I'm doing one of the teams that had lots of sister teams.
I believe that's Valiente and Valeriano?
Yeah, 10th and 11th place. And Valeriano now in the Abutto car going to go around the outside of the hairpin. All Valiente has to do is hold him off. Valiente's got some superb pace.
Bit of mistake there. Bit of mistake there.
Bit of a mistake there from Valeriano. But Valiente is on the march today. He'll be looking at a podium surely from 19th on the grid with the pace that he has.
So Tusting's pitted now, so he's pitted from second place. He was going pretty well. Let's hope he's out in clean air. It looks like there is a car in front of him, but yeah, he's done pretty well to get up into second place in the first place. And Schneider now has a 19-second lead.
Here's another thing that's confusing. The Abutto racing cars don't have Abutto clearly labelled on them as the Hacksaw racing car, which has to be with another sister team. So whenever I'm looking at these Hacksaw racing cars, I'm thinking, oh, it's Abutto, because it says it very clearly on the rear wing, on the side pod, on the fin. But it's not. That's Hacksaw racing, and that silver car, in fact, Jonathan Holmes, you can see in front of Campus in the neck rack here. That silver car, that's the real Abutto car.
Oh, certainly massively confusing. Yeah, it's alright. It's alright. I understand you. I'm getting with this. This will take a few races, but you know we're getting there. At least
if only we had the opportunity to commentate on Bahrain, perhaps we'd be a bit more up to speed by now. But having that 4-week break, that's really thrown us off, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was completely unfortunate that we couldn't do the live stream because I would have loved to have seen that race. But you know, at least you don't have a Lotus Renault on the track again.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was in the World Series, the World Trophy.
I think it was the World Trophy, if I'm honest. I'm not too sure. Ben Tusting, they're getting a round. Who was that in P? I think that was Klopp. Was that no?
Renz Klopp made a great start, but something must have happened to him because he's dropped right down the order, hasn't he? Renz Klopp actually now fighting back against the Hacksaw racing car of Ben Tusting. Ben Tusting today challenging for the podium, and it's interesting, isn't it, seeing these cars who have just got passed by a much faster car than them on newer tyres, and they still battle really hard. If it was me personally, I would let it go because I don't want to lose any time of my own. But,
exactly.
Interesting. And we also saw who was it earlier who Zipperly passed, and it was Basho. Basho fought really hard after Zipperly passed. So
yeah,
it's interesting to see it from these guys, and perhaps just a little bit of a show of their inexperience at the World Trophy level. I mean,
yes,
all good drivers, aren't they? But certainly less experience than you'll see in the World Series and World Championship.
I think a lot of these drivers are trying to prove themselves, you know, and we've seen a lot of some slightly unnecessary moves. I mean, I'm not saying that they were like, you know, an unnecessary crash or anything. It's just an unnecessary move, a move that really didn't need to happen, you know, and that's where like tyre wear comes from, is, you know, doing unnecessary moves, moving around the track in an unnecessary fashion. And that's where your tyres will wear out more than they really need to. I believe Campus is in the pits. By the way, he has gone red on the live timing. Oh, is this? What's happening here?
It's really annoying not having our graphics, isn't it? But it's a Butto GP car No. Listen, a butter. It's Zipperly, isn't it? It's
I
Zipperly.
believe so. Yeah. Let's have a look.
Zipperly and Tusting. Tusting is just past Zipperly. Yes, that's what it is. Because I was getting confused once again. I saw the big Butto sign. I thought it was an Butto. No, it's not. It's a Hackball racing car of Ben Tusting, and now Zipperly's going to go and try and get Ben Tusting on the outside again. Can he do it? He's all bit of contact there. Zipperly. Got to make sure that he doesn't chuck away everything today, because the championship leader, we've got to get a few points, surely. But Ben Tusting, right now, is laying down a marker. He's past
Oh, he's made a mistake.
Zipperly's
made a mistake. He's going into the wall a little bit.
That was at turn number 3. And if we can just get on board with Zipperly, and it's a real disaster today. What has happened? Zipperly started so well. We made up 2 seconds in the first 3 laps on Franz Schneider, but after that, it's gone slowly. More and more downhill. Look at that, just a massive oversteer moment down off turn number 3. Looks like he didn't put down the power anywhere near enough. And,
yeah, I will say that is.
Tyre wear.
He's
mentioned earlier in the race, he has to be on tyre wear.
Yeah, we've seen him getting a bit sideways coming out of quite a lot of these corners now, and I must say he is incredibly lucky. Oh, a very, very, very good drive for keeping that out of the wall as much as it was. Because that could have caused suspension damage and then taken him out of the race. But Franz Schneider is totally on it at the moment. Considering he hasn't actually scored a point in this season so far, whether that's the DNFs or not, I'm not sure. I haven't actually checked which races he's taken part in yet. But there you go. Another fastest lap there from Franz Schneider. He is completely on it this afternoon.
Yeah, and considering last year when he started, reasonably, we started P20. I believe he made up a few positions, if I remember rightly. But then he unfortunately retired with suspension failure, so clearly it's not over yet. But you're right, Franz Schneider has raced this year. He started second, if you remember, in Melbourne, and he was the one who made that unfortunate crash and actually finished DNF in P21. Just checking the Bahrain results to see if he started there as well.
He did not, from what I can see, he did not start in Bahrain on grid 1 or grid 2. But I mean, if he started in P2 in Australia and he started on pole position here, so he could be the first person in World Trophy this season to have won from pole position. The interesting thing though is that considering he hasn't actually scored a point this season, he could become a real title contender. You know, putting in a real fight with Zipperly, because Zipperly looks a little bit uncomfortable here. I don't know if it's the tyres or I don't know if it's because Franz Schneider's been so on it, but he's looked a little bit uncomfortable. I would state it's the tyres, because you know, as
you have to feel based on his pace compared to people like Jonathan Holmes, Peugeot, Alma, who are all ahead of him. You have to feel it's a problem for Zipperly with the tyres or something. And I wonder if it's a one-off problem or whether it will affect him throughout the season. Because if this will affect him throughout the season, and certainly it really opens up the championship, which, you know, for the first 2 races, people will say, oh, the same guy's won the first 2 races, he's dominated them, he's done it from the back of the grid, it must be easy for him. And this is showing, oh no, wait a minute, we could have a real championship fight in the World Trophy this year.
Yeah, I do believe it was 2010 in the World Championship when Bonnefouille didn't win the first few rounds, did he? I mean, he didn't win for quite a little while in that season, but he still completely dominated after that point. The first few rounds aren't indicative generally of the rest of the season. The rest of the season, you know, so much can happen between round 1. I believe there's 15 rounds this season. There's so much that can happen in that time. There's so many different title changes. I mean, if you look at Formula 1, you know, for example, when we had, you know, 7 different winners in 7 different races at the beginning of last year, you know, but then there were segments where someone was dominating and this other team was dominating. You go through segments in these kind of in racing where someone's dominating and then someone else is dominating and then someone else is dominating. You don't tend to see one driver completely dominating.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, in the World Championship, people always say, oh, it's a 2-man race all the time. It's like Morgan Miranda Bonnefouille. Now we're watching a battle here. Very hard.
Oh, you run him out wide there, I believe.
Yeah, that was a little bit illegal, you'd have to feel from, that is a Butto GP. That's Jonathan Holmes' teammate, what's his name? Valeriano, of course. Sorry, yeah, Valeriano. There on Vincentovic, would that be? Because the graphic told us it was Fancinati, but you have to not trust these graphics.
Maybe it
playing
was a
havoc
lapped
with our
car.
minds today.
Possibly was it a lapped car? I don't know. It's really quite hard to follow some of this because it's
Yeah,
between Valeriano to Vincent Civic. Sorry. There's two cars in between that, but I don't think it was Valiente or Fisher. So who was it? It must have been a lapped car. I'm really confused because this can get very, very confusing very quickly.
One thing that's different now this year, what's good is that we have the RRD viewer, which means that if one of us disconnects, we can come straight back in. Last year we had many problems with Liam Jenkins, and we were unfortunately kept disconnected and couldn't come back in. It's a real shame. So we fixed that now with this RRD viewer. But the problem is that we can't see the names of the drivers from in-game anymore, which can create problems for us commentators because we can only see what you see. So we sometimes don't know who's lapped, whether it's one driver or another, one of his teammates. So we don't know really what we're looking at here. Certainly, whatever it is, it's quite exciting, isn't it?
Oh, we just saw a little bit of contact there from one of the Positive Sim Racing green cars, and I don't know who that was behind. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look. See, this is the problem with our live timing, is that sometimes on some teams there aren't logos on some of the teams. They just say FSR team, so it's quite hard to work out who's racing for who. But you know, I did see a little bit of contact there through turn one that almost took the Positive Sim Racing green car off. So it's a bit unfortunate there. And his Schneider completely leading the way. It's 16.5 seconds back to Almond. Whereabouts is his teammate? Because I don't see his teammate.
But wait, the other Ghost Speed car. I'm not sure.
Because there's not a logo next to his name. Hence the reasoning of what I said earlier.
It's the show, isn't it? It's the show.
I believe so, yeah.
But remember, Almond is also in a Ghost Speed sister car, GS Racing.
Oh, all the confusion. But Schneider...
Bashov actually shows him... Bashov does have a logo, but it's a different one.
Yeah, that's why I'm completely confused. I do believe Bashov is with Ghost Speed.
Yeah, so just ignore that.
Yeah. Apologies. Really? Really.
Franz Schneider then has stretched the gap to 20 seconds at the front. He's made one pit stop. Most people here have made one pit stop. Looks like they'll all be on a two-stop or one-stop strategy. You'd have to feel that Franz Schneider and most of the rest of the field will stop again. In fact, you'd have to feel everyone will stop again, wouldn't you think? But Valiente may be on a free stop. His progress has been halted a little bit. Perhaps he's changed to a bit more of a conservative strategy, just trying to get a top 5, 6 place.
Yeah, I will state one thing is that we can't trust live timing anymore, as I've just realised why there's been so many problems with it. Because it's not live anymore. It's quite a way behind. Because it still says that Campos is in the pit, but he's not, he's out on track. So that's the reasoning for that. Now we can be less confused by that. Focusing on screen. The
Schneider then, it looks like just cut the gap a little bit there. I was just saying it's 20 seconds.
Yeah, I was just about to think this. Maybe Schneider's tyres are going off just a little bit. Because I thought he was looking a little bit, not ragged, but yeah, you go huge locking down into turn 3. So I think he'll be pitting within the next couple of laps. As his teammate Bashov.
Going past Zipoli.
Was it Zipoli? Yeah, that's the gap to the car in front. Yep, of course. I thought it was.
Poor Zipoli, it's not going well for him at all, is it? Bashov, after Bashov was battling with him early in the race, when he was on much pressure tyres, it looked like the car looked like Zipoli might challenge for the race win, and Bashov would just be content with a middle of the top 10 sort of place. Now Bashov is probably going to finish higher than Zipoli, and that's on merit. So a real shame for Zipoli, and perhaps a swing in the championship here today. And in fact, Zipoli's going to make sure he doesn't lose another place to Valiente in the Positive Sim Racing orange car there. Valiente looking very lively. Remember, he's got much fresher tyres than everyone else. Well, not much fresher, but a fair bit fresher tyres than everyone else. He's going to try on the outside. This is a move that Zipoli made on the very first lap round on Franz Schneider. Can Valiente get it done?
He got a bit nudged out there.
Wide. That was a bit naughty from Zipoli. Really forced him wide. And that's going to put a little heat under the collar of Valiente. He's not going to be too happy with that.
No, I mean, Zipoli, this is not the first time in this race that I've seen something that I would disagree with from Zipoli. I mean, he's just looked not like what you would expect from someone who's won both the races this season. He just doesn't look very comfortable. You know, this is what a lot of people said about Sebastian Vettel in Formula 1, where he just looks a bit ragged when he's not leading. And
yeah,
so
you're right. Although remember, he wasn't leading for pretty much most of the race in Bahrain.
Yeah, of course. That's why you can't really stay there, because we didn't see the race in Bahrain. But to state he's lost another position there. To state that someone has won from 26th place, you know, he just doesn't look that comfortable when fighting with other people.
Clearly, he's a talented driver and a very good
obviously,
driver.
Completely, yeah.
But there's something that's gone wrong today. I'd have to say that it's probably just a mistake on the setup, which means that he's abusing his tyres just a little bit too much. But what's really important, and what we really got to watch out for in future races, is whether it was indeed a mistake today, or if it's a systematic problem that will affect him throughout the championship.
Well, if it was a mistake today, and if it is with setup, I think we can expect that mistake to put its head on another track, because, you know, a lot of the tracks require a totally different setup, and if he's got the setup wrong here, you know, we may see that a bit later on as well. But, you know, I think now that he'll be aware of that, he can make the setups, you know, they can all make the setups around, like, these kind of mistakes with tyre wear. Tyre wear, this season, you know, it was obvious in Australia, it was, you know, it was popping its head out in Bahrain. And, you know, tyre wear has been a pretty big problem this season. Yeah, not that when I mean problem, I mean it's a problem for the drivers. For us, you know, it can make some interesting races.
Exactly, it's been pretty exciting today, hasn't it? Apart from Schneider dominating the front, we've had plenty of stuff going on throughout the field. Renz Klopp at the moment in third place, and he's 5 seconds off Tusty. Earlier in the race I said Klopp had fallen off it a bit, but clearly he's managed to pick up his pace again, and he's in a good position for perhaps get the podium today. And we will want to do something about it, and it looks like that's where the final podium position will be forged. Ben Tusting as well has put in a superb drive, hasn't he? To second after third in Bahrain. He's followed that up by showing he has pace and he has consistency, and going for his second successive podium. Yeah,
I mean he has looked very good here today.
Tell you something else we haven't seen much today. Attrition. We've only got 2 cars out of the race, haven't we?
And that was really quite early on. I can't remember what that was. Oh yeah, that was the slight contact coming down the back straight and then spinning in front of the other car. Who was that who did that? And let's have a look. Oh, it was Keeney. Yeah, Keeney had a problem at the beginning of the race. And then he spun out in front of Bodnar, and then we saw... I didn't think we saw Kuetti go out earlier on the race. But to state that we've had 3 cars go out in this entire race, you know, we're well over halfway now. It's good to see. I mean, I don't like to see so many cars, you know, go out in a race, because, you know, is this lag?
This is Holmes, is it? This is Jonathan Holmes, indeed.
Yeah.
And we should have, remember earlier when we thought it was Jonathan Holmes who made a mistake. This is Jonathan Holmes. I can assure you of that. And that's a shame for him because he's just lost the position. Perhaps this is more sign of tyre wear problems for other drivers as well. Perhaps it's not just the Pescara cars and most clearly Zapoli who suffer from tyre wear. Perhaps others are suffering too at the moment, and they all look like they might be trying to stay out as long as possible before making their final pit stop, so they all have the freshest tyres to charge to the end.
Well, if the soft tyre is the fastest tyre, you know, it goes off very quickly. You have to be a bit more patient with it. So I think we'll see a lot of pits between about lap 12 and lap 8. If not, if you don't see a pit stop between between those laps, most likely they're going too deep into the race, or if it's earlier than that, then they've gone too early onto the softs, if that's what they're actually doing.
Could see someone go onto the hards now, but it would like we might as well stick it out and wait for
it's a bit pointless to go onto the hards at this point. But you know, it's all about when you make your move. I mean, we saw this in China actually with Formula 1 when Sebastian Vettel put on the soft tyres. I mean, I don't think it's quite the same thing because those softs were going off immensely quickly. But you know, and he made the charge and was so close to a podium behind Lewis Hamilton. And it's
Antonacci just set a fastest lap.
Yeah,
Antonacci, they're down in 18th position. Has he pitted now?
Probably.
He's showing the. I think. Yeah, it looks like he has, and he probably is a marker now for the other drivers. It looks like Vincentovic has also pitted, and is this a real marker for the other drivers? He's a second faster than Campos and Tustin, who are the fastest guys who haven't pitted. So is this showing that perhaps now is the time to pit? But you have to feel if he's on soft tyres, then he's got a little way to go on those, and they might drop off at the end. So I think they should wait it out just a few more laps.
Yeah, I mean, this says actually a lot for World Trophy if you think about it. When someone who's in P18 can set the fastest lap of the race, you know, it's showing that no matter where you are on the grid, you know who on the grid, it doesn't matter. They all have really good pace. You know, they all have fairly equal pace, to be honest. You know, it then comes down to strategy and keeping it together in the race. But they're all pretty fast. I think Zipperly's pitted again because he's gone red on the live timing. Yep, there you go. He is in the pits. So, unfortunately, very poor race for Zipperly. I don't know where he's going to finish in the race, but I can tell you one thing, that it will not be first place unless something seriously bad happens to everyone in front of him. Meteor
strike perhaps hitting the track might save him, but apart from that, he's out in 16th position, I believe. Did that just say? Although don't trust the on-screen graphics too much.
It does look 16th or 17th would be where he would have come out, but yeah, I'm sure he can't really keep his fingers crossed. He's got to keep his mind on the game and his hands on the steering wheel.
Indeed, and now he's pitted actually with 12 laps to go. Is that sensible from someone who's been having tyre problems during the race?
Depends what tyres he's gone onto. If he's gone onto the softs, they're going down 10% a lap. So that's 120%. You know, if my mathematics are correct. So if that's the case, yes, it was a poor move. Maybe he's gone onto the hards, or maybe he's just going to, you know, not push as hard. I mean, this what we said, as I said with Sebastian Vettel, is that everyone said that the tyres, you know, the soft tyres in Formula 1 wouldn't last that long, and yet he still got a lap that was 3 seconds faster than everyone else for about 3 or 4 laps in a row. I mean, I don't think we'll see Zipperly do that exactly, but we could see him, you know, just be a little calmer on the tyres.
And this is important for people like Valiente, people like Johanny Alman to watch out for. People who are still battling for position right now, because if they can get a jump, if they can go in 2-3 laps more before someone else and get a jump on someone, that could create an opportunity for passing in the pits. And certainly those final podium positions are still under contact.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Martin actually pitted earlier on. I think actually Campos and Holmes has pitted because they haven't got a first sector time, although they're all... No, Holmes and Campos are actually still out on track. It's just that I think that's who Carlos Martin is battling with at the present moment. But you know, this is the time where it's all getting a bit. Oh, do you pit now? Do you stay out? You know, this is where all the strategy can fall apart, or everything can piece itself together absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, we're just watching onboard here. I believe it's Aslamadjan, who's in another NetRex car, and that's his teammate. Is it his teammate?
No, that's Haag.
Not his teammate.
Yeah, this is
Haag, right.
Haag was in Grid 2. He won the Grid 2 race, I believe, in Australia. Hence why his car is a new car. We haven't seen it before. I was looking on the logo. It was M4Y is its team logo. Never seen that before. Its colour scheme slightly reminiscent of the Precision Motorsports colour scheme. Do you not think? Ever so slightly.
Yeah, I could see that. It's M4Y Monster Energy.
Yeah,
is their team, and Jerome Haag from France.
Carlos Martin
Carlos Martin, who's just pitted, hasn't he? And now he's showing what you can do on the new tyres. He's got to really push on these laps, because he's got to make up some time on everyone else and try and leapfrog someone. What he's not going to do though is wear them out. If he is on stop, then 11 laps is still a long way to go. I think we should expect people to start coming in the next few laps, and it really should create an exciting run to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Holmes, what's the quote on the top of his helmet? Because I believe there was what was it that was in? I swear he had something written on top of his helmet in Australia.
It was something to do with a fish. He told me to say something about it in Australia, and I'm not sure if I did or not. but it was something
I
to do
think
with
you
a
did,
fish in
yeah.
the river. I believe.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, it's a bit eccentric, is old Jonathan Holmes, but
Yeah, I was looking in the
wait, oh no, it's still something different now. Look, it's
anti-cut airplane. Yeah, I saw this in. I was in the chat on the World Championship, and he was in the chat as well. And he was saying about someone suggested that he should change the quote for every race on the top of his helmet.
Right, it says because of his ash in round 1, he's now been caught. Oh, of course. We didn't see it on the stream, did we?
We
didn't. You
didn't,
can look it up
no.
on YouTube. Jonathan Holmes, he retired from the first race, if you remember, but we didn't actually see it, and that's because in the fast chicane in Melbourne, he tried to cut it a little bit too much, and he launched into the air and flew into the barrier. You can look it up on
Okay,
YouTube.
so that's something
Really
that we can
quite
look at
dramatic.
every round. Okay, so who's
really
this?
Really dramatic, and look it up on YouTube. That's why he's the anti-cut airplane.
So he's going to change that every round.
This is
then?
Campus now. This is Campus, and I believe that's Carlos Martin in front of him.
Yeah, he's just at the fastest lap of the race. He's going really, really strong. I'm going to suggest now that Carlos Martin is in fact on the soft tyre. Siggy, I believe, is either pitted or is DMF'd. I would suggest pitting, as he's falling down fairly quickly, and he's just past sector 3. So as you stated, and as I stated earlier on in the race, that this is about the time for pitting.
Yeah, you'd have to feel so. Schneider at the moment is leading comfortably, isn't he? And I'm not sure if he even will pit, but he probably should. He's got to be on the hard tyres, and there's no point in making them last 10 laps longer if you can get out and still have 5 seconds in hand for Ben Lustig once he's pitted. So Franz Schneider certainly should pit soon. But coming into that sort of gap, 9 laps, we saw the tyres last about 9 laps, didn't we? They were soft. So
Yeah.
we should see people stop pitting, but do you think anyone will perhaps try and risk it? Anyone will try and stay out? The thing is,
Who
won't
was
just
it
be-
who did a one-stop strategy in Australia? Was that in World Series? Or was that in World Trophy? I believe it was in. I believe it was in this. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. But it was someone. It was impressive, wasn't it? Particular.
It was definitely was one of the Crown 7 Netrex cars. But you know, I don't think, considering the tyre wear here at the moment, I don't think anyone should try the one stop or 2 stop. You know, from I think people need to pit now unless they pitted about halfway through the race or a bit later. But Martin is absolutely showing how good the new tyres. I mean, his fastest lap, a 1:37.068. That's the fastest lap of the race. In comparison to Franz Schneider's fastest lap, a 1:38.8. That is 1.8 seconds faster than Franz Schneider. Which, to put into perspective, Carlos Martin is 55 seconds off of Franz Schneider. You know, it's all. Franz Schneider's had really good strategy throughout the race, and to throw it all away now with a move that he didn't have to make, such as not pitting,
would be silly. But he'd have to feel that 8 laps isn't far at all, won't he? That's not a long way to go, is it?
Yeah,
And,
I know. Then
actually,
you've also got to have
people
the
start
feeling.
to risk it, don't you think? Because the thing is, what could catch them out if someone risks it and doesn't pit? Not only will the other guys that are pitting have fresher tyres and be faster, but also the guys who don't pit, their tyres will surely start to fall off. There could be a real double effect. We could see people start to gain 4 or 5 seconds a lap, which would be disastrous for anyone who didn't pit.
Yeah, I mean, for Franz Schneider, what I would suggest to him is to pit. He's got 22.6 seconds to Tusting behind, you know, which is 37.6 seconds, as is now just updated to Alman. You know, he's got so much time that, you know, he can really think about what he's doing. I think he should pit, because then with the gap to Tusting, he will be on the right tyre, setting fast speed. He will keep the lead, no doubt. But I think he just has to pit to not risk it, because what if you are, you know, there's 3 laps to go, and your tyres have just gone. You know, you can't keep pace. You're losing 3 seconds to the car behind. You know, 3-4 seconds a lap to the car behind, and that's Tusting. Okay, Tusting, who may have pitted at this point, could then catch him by the end of the race, and that is not what you want. I would say that he has to pit. As he doesn't, he stays out. We're getting into a bit of dodgy territory here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's only the driver who knows what's going on. Schneider did set his personal best on the last lap. He's dropped 1.3 seconds on that lap, but he did give He did move out of the way for a lapped car behind, who I'm going to assume was going quite a bit faster. I don't know who that was though, and I can't see on live timing because
Valiente, like he's pitted here, has he? And Klopp. So it looks like a few guys will be trying it out.
yeah, it's what I would suggest to Schneider. I mean, he's the only one who can see his tyre wear, of course. Klopp definitely pitted. I did see that appear on the live timing, so he's just going to be shooting through. Although that's Valiente. If that's true that he pitted as well.
In fact, I don't think that's right. I think Valiente just looked like he pitted because he was faster than Klopp now.
Okay.
Yeah. Valiente's last lap. Yeah, Valiente didn't pit. It was Klopp that pitted, and Klopp now has already made up one place on Valiente, and then he's going to try and pass Carlos Martin, which you could think 2.6 seconds up the road to Carlos Martin. He should do. So this is probably a good move from Klopp.
Yeah, but then you've got to remember that Martin is
if
also on...
Bischoff's tyres fall off, then it could be very different, and Bischoff could fall victim to Renz Klopp's new tyres here. Over 7 laps, if Klopp has put on the softs, as surely he must have, and he can really push here, then he could start gaining 3-4 seconds a lap on Bischoff, and perhaps challenge for that 4th position. But as you said, only the driver really knows how fast these soft tyres now are at this stage in the race.
Yeah,
but remember, it just depends. I think it depends less on how fast the soft tyres are, and more on how much these hard tyres are going to wear. If the sort of fight that Carlos Martin is putting up right now is anything to indicate, then these hard tyres are still working just fine.
Yeah, I mean, things are getting pretty interesting in the last 6 laps here in China, and this is what we want to see. We want to see things getting quite close, quite heated. As Martin on, he does have newer tyres than Bischoff. But this is what we saw earlier as well, is that Bischoff just has something down this straight. Are we going to go 3 wide into this last corner? Into second to last corner.
So I think Bischoff must have pitted because there was a 15-second gap, wasn't there? And now it's gone. So I think Bischoff must have pitted, and he's on cold tyres right now. Is that right?
Possibly. I didn't see him pit on the live time, but I would assume he probably would have pitted. But
I'm not sure. His last lap doesn't look like a pit lap. So what's happened here? I swear that it said he was 15 seconds ahead before, but now it's all wide open for 4th place. And Carlos Martin,
he's gone past on turn 1.
And Renz Klopp is going to follow him through. Renz Klopp also has the new tyres, and Renz Klopp has slightly newer tyres than Carlos Martin. So we could see another change here for the 4th position. As looks like Bischoff, if he hasn't pitted, he's fallen victim to the strategy of not pitting. And that's exactly what his teammate Franz Schneider has to watch out not to do.
Yeah, you can't help but now feel that Schneider, Tusting and Alman are all going to be saying that if we pit now, maybe we'll fall into their hands and they'll take us. But I mean, Schneider seems to be the only one who's safe if he's managing his tyres as well as he looks. But
apart from that, everyone else is a bit at risk, aren't they? 15 seconds back to Johanny Alman from Carlos Martin. Johanny Alman is 15 seconds off Ben Tusting. So if any one of them pits and starts gaining 3, 4, 5 seconds on that, then they can catch the guy in front.
Yeah, this is the part in the race. This is why I like the tyres. I mean, loads of people have been saying about in Formula 1, oh, we don't like the tyres like this, we don't like the tyres like this. Okay, now in FSR, with the tyres like this is what I want to see. You know, races where towards the end you just don't know who's going to take what. You don't know who's going to be on the podium. Klopp does in fact go round Martin on turn 14 there. Pretty good move there. Pretty solid.
Klopp. Right on the outside, just braking later, braking smoothly actually. It wasn't like a really late, wild try on the brakes, but now Carlos Martin is coming back up the inside into turn 1. Carlos Martin not to be denied, and this looks like this battle will go right down to the wires. 5 laps to go in this FSR World Trophy Grand Prix from the Shanghai International Circuit, and we have an exciting battle on our hands for the 4th place between Carlos Martin and Renz Klopp, who both have fitted the new tyres. And they're side by side again into the hairpin, and Renz Klopp pulls off a nice little undercut now. Has he got the outside? Yes, he has. He's got the position now into the sweeper, and can Carlos Martin stay on him here through these fast corners and have another try down the long straight?
Absolutely wonderful driving from the pair of them two. It is really good. I mean, this is what we want to see. I think Martin just made a little bit of a mistake there. I did see a smoky engine in the background, so we may be seeing another DNF a bit later on. I believe one of the Bosso GP cars, but I'm not too sure about that. But this is what we want to see, decent racing. And Martin, I think he may have just lost it a bit now.
Yeah, we're going to remember Ren's Clark pitted about 3-4 laps.
Exactly.
Carlos Martin, so that's a fair difference, especially if they're both on the soft tyres. I'm really surprised no one else, any of the top three, they're all doing one-stop strategies, aren't they? I'm really surprised by that, but it seems to be working out for them so far. Let's see what Ren's Clark can gain on Johanny Alman now. Because the last lap was only second faster, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
I think it's all now balanced out just a little bit. I mean, we're not seeing the gaps dissipating as fast as I thought they might have done. This could have been a good call from Schneider, but I still think that if he'd have pitted onto the soft tyres or even onto a new set of the harder tyres, he would have kept the lead, and B, he would have just been completely comfortable until the end of the race.
You're right, but perhaps he wanted to give himself a little bit of a gap in case he makes a mistake, because if he's gone to the tyres, he'll be about seconds ahead, and perhaps he wants a little bit of a buffer zone. He's more comfortable that way. I think he's more likely to make a mistake now. He's on the old tyres, but perhaps his reasoning was that. Carlos Martin needs to find some pace from somewhere if he wants to get by Ren's Clark, and it can't be from his tyres because they're older. Meanwhile, Valiente and Bouchot look like they could be involved in a little battle perhaps in a bit, because Valiente is just a second off Bouchot, who is now starting to fall behind the cars who pitted of Ren's Clark and Carlos Martin. Jonathan Holmes there, after that mistake, is unfortunately down in 9th place, and Campos is all on his own in 8th place. But the real driver of the day so far is our pole sitter, Brad Schneider, who's completely taken off from the field. He's 24 seconds ahead of Ben Tusting, who's also put in a solid drive, 2nd place, and Johanny Alman, who is in 3rd. Johanny Alman, is he another Go Speed car? Am I correct in saying that? No. It's a GS racing car.
It's Go Speed.
It's Go Speed, yes. So Go Speed, a great showing today.
Yeah, I'd say Valiente. I believe he started from pretty much the back of the grid. He's done pretty well up in 7th. I thought he would be a little bit higher with his early pace, but still.
Yeah, he fell off, didn't he?
Yeah, you still can't take anything away from him. I mean, from the back of the grid to 7th, that is a remarkably impressive drive. Oh, and I think I remember who did the one-stop strategy in Australia. I believe it was Campus who did the one-stop strategy.
Right.
We were very impressed with. Who's this going around the outside?
This is Valiente going all the way around the outside
Bouchot.
of Bouchot, and Bouchot is really paying the price. Bouchot should have pitted. He's one that's been caught out. I think his tyres have just had it now, especially if you get past on the outside of turn 1 and 2. Did you see how Valiente was squirting the throttle? His car was sort of lurching forward again and again, and Valiente, really impressive move there, and he's put up a superb drive into 6th place. I don't think he'll have anything for Carlos Martin, but
depends how new his tyres are, really.
Yeah, it depends how Carlos Martin's pitted, so Carlos Martin's not going to completely destroy his tyres, surely. Only a couple more laps to go. We're on lap number 40 now, out of 42, and Franz Schneider looks like he's got this one comfortably in the bag, barring any mistake or any commentated curse I've just put on him.
Yeah, it does look like Lubracek is also pitted or has made a mistake, which is a bit of an odd time to pit, really, 2 laps from the end, but he's all the way down in 19th place, so it's a bit unfortunate. Also, Johnston is either pitted or is out. He's done 37 laps, and he's not crossed the line yet, so I'm going to assume he's probably out, or has been lapped twice. I'm not really too sure.
I'm not sure either, but Zippoli, look at where Zippoli is right now. He's just given up, hasn't he?
Yeah,
something must have happened again. Now here we are, 20th place for Marcus Cipollone, the guy who started 2nd, the guy who's won the first 2 races. He's also the championship leader. He'll still be the championship leader after today, I believe.
Yep, he definitely will. He definitely will. There is only one person who could have taken that away, and I will just check.
That would have been Alberts.
Alberts.
Great.
Yeah.
So,
no, he's not here today.
This is not a bad day for Cipollone. It could have been much worse, but Ben Tusting certainly up in 2nd place. Ben Tusting will come up into 2nd place. We set hearing that Alberts had problems with his steering wheel. That's not his steering wheel in the game, that's his actual steering wheel that he uses for the simulator. So that's why Alberts hasn't been racing, and it's given a real good day for Cipollone to really consolidate his championship league, couldn't it? And instead he's completely messed it all up, and he's he's just cracked up the pressure he's having to feel.
Oh.
Frank Schneider, looking, he's wobbling a bit on his tyres. He's now on his final lap for victory, and a really, really impressive drive from Frank Schneider.
Absolutely, completely impressive. You know, he's done everything perfectly. I don't think we've seen him make a mistake. You know, he may have. It did look like Zipperly had it from the start. You know, but Schneider was comfortable. He was there. He's got his strategy right. You know, he's got 28 seconds to the car behind. You know, he can just take a little breather. He's got this one in the bag. You know, it's his first points in the season. It's 50 points in the season. And it does look like he could be a very impressive challenger for later on in the season.
Yeah, Frank Schneider, I believe this will be his first FSR win, won't it? He finished second in Japan last year, but I believe this will be a real first for Frank Schneider as he takes it to the back stretch. And it's been a completely dominant drive. Starting from the pole, he lost out at first to Zipperly at the hairpin. He went round the outside, but he didn't panic. He pulled him back in, he made his tyres work, and he has pulled off a superb drive, surely to win now, and he comes through the final few corners.
Absolutely wonderful drive, very well done. But I'm sure you want to say how much he's won. Well done.
Yeah, a fantastic drive from Frank Schneider. He wiggles the car around. He is the winner today in China in the World Trophy. He scores his first points actually of 2013 today with the win. He had an unfortunate incident in Australia, but Frank Schneider is the winner today, and a thoroughly deserved one. Now, as we watch for the rest of the cars to filter through, Ben Tusting has made an absolutely superb drive to the second position. He started in fourth place. He passed Johanny Alman early in the race, and after Tony had his problems, and Ben Tusting will finish in second place. Watch out for Alman, who is 12 seconds behind now in the GS racing car. So a superb day for Go Speed. They get two cars on the podium, and Johanny Alman certainly laying down a little bit of a gauntlet to the rest of the drivers, and certainly his Go Speed teammate Frank Schneider as well, showing that he's still there. Renton Klopp comes through after making the fire decision, put on tyres late, as does Carlos Martin in fifth place. Valiente drives in the back of the grid, 19th up to 6th, I think punch on him, and Yorick Peugeot in 7th place, Frank Schneider's actual teammate, not even his sister car teammate. Yorick Peugeot comes through in 7th place. Looks like Holmes is very happy about finishing in 9th place after his 4th place last week. Following that, we'll have a top 10, and Barrichello, his teammate, will finish in 10th place.
Yeah, we've had some beautiful overtaking. You know, just general driving in this race, and that's a striking colour scheme, blimey. But it does look like things are heating up in the 2013 World Trophy.
Yeah, I'd be excited for the next race. Where are we going next in the World Trophy? Obviously, the
Spain,
next race
I
in
believe.
FSR,
I will just check that now.
the next race in FSR is obviously the World Championship, which will be on later today. Not sure what time that's on, but I imagine it will be pretty soon. It's Monaco next in the World Trophy.
Lovely.
So that will be fun. And look at this, we've got double burnouts here from, I believe this is the Positive Sim Racing Green team, is it not?
That is correct. But Monaco next, so I guess people should be placing their bets on who will plough their car into the wall first.
Yeah, that should be really exciting. Certainly it will always seems to throw a spanner in the works with the championship, Monaco, because there'll be so many DNFs almost certainly. We may only get a few finishes. So Monaco will certainly add even more spice to the championship battle after China has blown it wide open with a terrible race for the championship leader Marco Zipperly, and a fantastic race for challengers Frank Schneider and Ben Tusting. So certainly watch Monaco, which is in a few weeks' time, surely.
Yeah, I think it's only a couple of weeks. It looks like Ben Tusting could have the consistency. If he can get the consistency done, this is what we saw in the Winter Series with Todor Vasilev, was that he challenged right up until the last race, but he didn't win a race. He wasn't really like the fastest car on the grid at any one point, but he was completely consistent, and that is what you have to be. Zipperly has proven that he's not been consistent in this race. He's been a bit all over the place. And it's consistency is key. If you aren't consistent, you won't win, and that's Holmes ploughing it into many a wall coming into pit lane.
Yeah, perhaps that will be the topic of his slogan for next year: pit lane pusher, something like that. I don't know, but certainly.
Oh, okay, that's what happened.
Oh, it's his teammate. his teammate he decided to have a bit of fun with after the race. What was it? No anti-cut airplane.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Monaco is in 2 weeks' time, so certainly join me and Lewis McGlade then, and join. I believe it will probably. I'm not sure who's on the commentary later for the World Championship.
I'm not sure either.
Well, join whoever it is for what will surely be a fantastic World Championship race from this China circuit, if the World Trophy race is anything to go by, because this has been a real pleasure to commentate on. Who's your driver of the day today then?
Can you say anyone else other than Frank Schneider for completely balancing out? Or, see, you have Valiente as well. He did really well to get up as high as he could. But I would say Frank Schneider. He's done so well at balancing out strategy and, you know, keeping his cool. Yeah,
Valiente did a superb drive, but you cannot take anything away from Frank Schneider, who lost the lead early, didn't panic, got it back, and built on it and built on it and built on it, and got a fantastic, what I believe is his first FSR win, so a really, really great day for Frank Schneider. With that, I think we can sign off. Join us next time in 2 weeks at Monaco. I'm looking forward to commentating again with you, Lewis. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, I'll be heavily looking forward to what's been known as the crown of the championship, and so yeah, I'll be quite happy to join you then. So until then, goodbye.
Indeed, goodbye.